Hi, so this is our next Ask the Experts episode. Today we have got Stephanie Lowe and Shazia Khan today speaking with us. Do you want to introduce yourself and just sort of tell us what you do?
Do you want me to go first?
Sure can.
So my name's Steph. I'm a programme lead for the Level 3 Diploma in Sport and Teaching and Learning at Leicester College.
Hi, my name's Shazia. I'm currently a teaching assistant in a primary school in Leicester, and I was lucky enough to have Steph as my tutor last year.
Great. So what are some of the daily tasks of your job?
So there are some set tasks. It does vary. What I've realised, it varies from year to year. So let's say year 1 or year 2, you'd be more hands-on with the children, more involved in kind of like their literacy and their numeracy and their non-core subjects and supporting them. But I think year 3, 4, 5, 6, it's definitely more like you're supporting your teacher, you're supporting the learning environment. It can be quite a bit of firefighting. So it can be kind of like ad hoc, that you go in with a plan for the day. So you have your day mapped out, you've got your interventions, I have daily readers, I have like certain levels of readers as well. But it can be totally just like we've had SATs last week, SATs mocks all week. Didn't know anything about it. That included like setting up the hall. Then I'm kind of like a floater in the sense of supporting one-to-one. And then every day I've done the mocks, I've sat with somebody. So either as a scribe or a reader, or just even as just a calming influence. If you've got a child who's quite anxious, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, you kind of just calm them down, or kind of give them that support, make them realise that they can do it, they have got the ability, they just need to take their time. So yeah, it can vary.
I don't think people realise how important the role of a teaching assistant is, and that they're just like this magic person that can do, has to do everything and anything. I don't think one of the units
in my life.
One of the units that we do looks at the role of the job description, the role of a TA, and you could go on forever with reams and reams of paper writing all the stuff that you do. And it's just, do you think it's satisfying, Shazia?
Amazing. I have to say, when you like either make that impact with a child or a group of children, or even with your teacher, and you can actually see the fruits of your labor. I think in other environments, it's maybe not as obvious, or not as kind of like, it's not so quick to see the results of what you're doing. But I do say to teachers, I think we've got the best bit. We get so much time with the children. We get to know them as people. We get to have that impact. And I'm quite a strict TA.
Good.
Yeah. I'm very old school as well, and I do, like, I'm a bit authoritarian. I'm very strict. I'm a stickler for the rules. I'm like, follow the rules. Like, if you're told to be quiet, or you're told to, but I found that the children still really like me, and I'm like, yeah, sure, because like I actually make them walk through school like in single file, silence. I've had SLT commenting like, oh, aren't you like a lovely bunch of things? And I'm just like walking through, and they're like quietly like behind me, no running, no this, no that. But you get to form those bonds.
But that's respect, isn't it, as well? That's them having respect for you. And they respect you.
Yeah, 100%. I think you get what you give.
Yeah.
The more it's like a plant, isn't it? You're nurturing. The more you feed and give it sunlight and loving words, and the more it's going to grow for you.
Yeah. Sorry, James.
No, I was just saying I can sort of know what you mean, and I suppose sort of watching that happen, I suppose, makes it all worth it, and I suppose sort of signifies exactly what the important part of your job is, I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely. It can be really hard. Like, there's some days I come back and my day's like 5 hours and 45 minutes, but I feel like I'm packing a 10-hour day sometimes, a 10-hour job into my little kind of 5 hours. And sometimes I come home and I'm like flat out on the sofa. I'm having to have a nap just to get through the evening. It is really rewarding. And I see that reward in real time. So you're not waiting for like the end of the year, or you're not waiting to have an appraisal meeting with your manager, or you're not waiting for like the results to come through, at the end of the financial year. it's there and then, and you can see little nuances, little changes, and like it's like you're building, you like little building blocks. Little bit, they give you a little bit, you give a little bit of bricks, a little bit of mortar, and it's just like, and it's just amazing. It's
wow, love it.
That sounds really good, actually, and I suppose it's nice. Once again, just going back to the sort of daily tasks, you know that each day is varied.
Yeah, no day's the same, is it?
No. Like I said, I have my set. Like I have my weekly. Like my teacher gives me my weekekly plan, and then sometimes I just look at it. I'm like, okay, yeah,
whatever. It's not going to go that way.
But yeah, but it's so varied. It's such a physical job. My fitness is. I haven't been this fit in years. It's a physical job, but it's so very admin, and it's like it's hands-on, and then you're like a pseudo parent. You're this caregiver. Some days you have one child who just needs that little bit of reassurance or a little bit of extra kind of like little bit of love or a little bit of understanding. And sometimes you've got 3 or 4, 5, 6 children who need it. And then you're trying to get that done, and you're trying to get your job done, and then you're running around like organizing things. And yeah.
Can you remember back in like September, not last year, the year before, when you started and going into that classroom?
Oh yeah.
For the first time, I'm thinking, what do I do? I'm all them children scaring you.
Crazy. Walked in.
Now look at you.
I'm thinking like they're going to eat me alive. Like I had no school experience, so I think a lot of people in the other course, Steph, they had volunteered in schools, hadn't they?
Some of them had, yeah.
Some of them had like teaching assistant level 2 qualifications. I went into teaching assistant level 3, totally blind. I was like, I'm going to do this. Let's just go. And I did. I thought they were going to eat me alive. And luckily I've got the same class this year, so I've been with them for 2 years. Yeah. And today, two of the girls came up to me and said, "Oh, Miss Khan, will you be with us next year? Please be with us next year."
Wow.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
That's so lovely.
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah. So next question then: what course did you start out in? How did you start your journey?
So I did actually apply. I applied for the teaching assistant level 2 course, but I've got a degree from way back yonder. Don't even ask me how many decades ago. So it was like somebody came back to me and said, "Oh, you've already got a degree. We'll assess your competency in English, literacy and maths to see if you need to do the qualification, because I know some students you can do that concurrently." And they said, "Well, you're competent in your English, you're competent in your arithmetic and maths. Why don't you just do the level 3? Like I said, had no experience. I was like, yeah, whatever he's telling me to do, I'll just do it. And I did. Jumped in with my feet.
I mean, and it's clearly worked out for you. So
yes, I had an amazing tutor.
It wasn't the smoothest of rides, was it? Though we had a few hurdles to get over, but you did so well, considering everything that you came up against.
You're very kind, Steph. You're really kind, because I think I was your worst student in sense of like anxiety and stress, but then I accessed, the college has counselling, and I accessed the counselling. I think it was about January.
It was after Christmas.
Yeah, it was after Christmas. And that was amazing. And I remember the counsellor I had, she kept saying to me, "It's low-level counselling. It is very low level." But I remember just making the most of it as well. Mm. And she commented as well, because you are making the most of our sessions. And it was only 6 sessions, but it was what I think I needed at the time to just clear my headspace, kind of deal with like my PTSD from my university and A-level days. In the middle of it, I found out I've got ADHD. So that was really interesting. Do you remember, Steph?
I do remember very well.
You're never going to forget me.
Never, but that's a good thing.
I chucked everything at you, kitchen sink and all.
But I think
it's great that the college obviously had those services, but I suppose
it was amazing.
It is I think a lot of it is, and you could probably say this is the same with courses and stuff. It seems very much it's sort of what you put into it as well.
Yeah, I have to say that Leicester College, I kind of did look around. So when what it was is I was inspired by my school. The school that I'm currently working at is actually my son's school. I was inspired by the relationship between the teachers and the TAs. And I was looking for a career change anyway. I'd spent 15, 16 years in admin in London. And I was looking for a career change, young children. And I was so inspired by their relationship. I was like, oh, this is what I'd like to do. But I didn't know anybody. I didn't think to speak to the school either. So I did my research. I just went online, started looking at courses, and it was Leicester College that kind of stood out for me. And I think there was about 3 or 4 other places, and loads of places that do it online as well. But I don't know what it was. And I was really taken, like blown away by the whole support as well of the various departments at Leicester College. And they were like, whoever was contacting me, it was just very kind and very gentle and very much, look, these are your options. Yeah, and it's nice because, like I said, I was going in blind, no idea. And I was like, who's going to give me the most support? Leicester College, there you are.
I mean, that is obviously great to hear. But no, it sounds really great. And I'm glad that Leicester College could sort of help you out and take you to where you are today. So it's really good to hear that, actually. So moving on, why did you decide, you have already touched on this a little bit, but why did you decide on this career over other things?
I'm a single parent, young children. So I needed something that I could work around kind of school holidays, not have to stress about kind of like what I'm going to do for 6 weeks with the children. And then I looked at the admin side so I had 2 options. I either could go into admin side in a school or teaching assistant. And then in the last couple of years, I just kind of really reflected on who I am as a person. And I thought, I really do like to nurture and help children where I can. And what I found is that as a TA, and I said this, previously, you are there. You're at the grassroots. You can make the biggest impact. You can really help a child that in years to come, that little bit of difference you've made can really affect the rest of their lives. And they may not remember you. They may not remember what you've done. You won't remember what you've done. Like there's things that I say and do, and like children in the class or children in the school, like, oh, Miss Khan, I'm like, what did I do? What did I say? I don't remember anything. But I realized I wanted something that would be kind of emotionally rewarding as well, and rewarding to who I am. And like the school that I'm at were really supportive to me and my children when we went through a really tough period. And I just thought, this is what I want to do. I want to be there for a child or children, even if it's just one child in my whole career, who I can help, or I can be there for. I want to be that person.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. I mean, I still remember a lot of the PAs back when I was in primary school. So I would second that they absolutely make a difference. Like just as much as their main class teachers, I would say, if not more, because it is oftentimes more personal as well. But no, I've got great memories of my TAs, so they do definitely make a difference, 100%. Yeah, obviously you said you did a level 3 at Leicester College, so I don't know if this is something you can answer or whether we should leave this one to Steph. I don't know, but what were your steps, or what are the steps that you can also take in further education as well for this?
So there is kind of like, we do the safeguarding every year, and there are kind of like little courses that we do. We're with National College, I think, in my school, and we do like get little things that come through every day. So it's kind of more like just your, keeping up with what's going on, safeguarding, any changes in policy, things like that. But I think, and Steph is probably best to answer this, but I think the next step is level 4, which is something I would look at maybe in a couple of years' time. But at the moment, I'm just happy to settle into my role.
Yeah, no, there is a couple of level 4s, and we don't do any at the college at the moment for a level 4 in teaching assistant. However, there is a level 4 advanced practitioner that's not long been out, and I've been looking into that to see if there was anything that whether we could provide that. Literally started looking at it this week, so I don't know whether there is anything as yet, but we'd have things like the level 4 HNC, the level 5 HND, not necessarily in early years as you progress through with adults. Hang on, my daughter's about to come through the door. I wasn't expecting her back. No, she's run upstairs. but we've got like a HNC in psychology and counselling. We've got health and social care extended diploma that we do for adults. So there are some options where you can move forward, but a lot of the TAs go into a job, get some experience, and then look at going up to the higher level teaching assistant after a year or so of practice.
Yeah, I think that is something that I was looking at last year. But now doing the job, I think I'd rather just learn the job.
Yeah.
Kind of like do this to the best of my ability before I look further. I said something very interesting to my teacher about a month ago, actually. It was during Ramadan. I was fasting, and she was being super amazing and supportive. And I said to her, look, don't worry. Like, this is just part of what we do. Like, we fast and we carry on with our day to day. Like, but she was amazing, and very subtle, just doing little things to help my day go easier. And I said something about, my first 6 months. And she goes, what do you mean? I said, my first 6 months were awful. I said, I felt like a duck. I said, I was like very calm and serene on the top. And inside, I was like this. And she goes, you just couldn't tell. And I said, oh no, I was just crazy. I said, but I was so lucky. Like, all my colleagues, and I said this, so I've recently been made permanent, and because I started on a casual contract, went to they gave me temporary just before Christmas, and then I applied for the permanent post, and I got me permanent.
Oh, great.
And I said that in my interview. I said, if it wasn't for the other TAs and all the other staff in the school, I couldn't have done my job. Like, whenever I've stopped and asked somebody, they've downed tools and helped me. Yeah. I think for me, I just want to get to that stage where I can do the job without having to think, what do I need to do? And then take it from there.
I think there's something with the mic keeps flickering. I think I don't know what's going on. You what, James? Can't hear you. Is it working?
I'm going to mute me and Shazia whilst you speak, and hopefully that should get rid of some of that.
Oh, okay. I think when adults come back to education after having so long out, or having a bad, like Shazia said, a bad uni experience, or not a very good high school experience, coming to further education is a massive thing. And we spend a year or an academic year learning the course. Then I was talking to the group today about how there's a hidden curriculum in everything that we do at college, because yes, there's a specification, and yes, you get out of it the qualification that you came to get, but in it they learn to be confident, they learn to be independent, they learn to make friends, they learn so many things that they learn that's not in that specification. And towards the end of the course, they've then got the bug for moving further in further education and going and doing more. So there are courses around for people to do that. But then, like Shazia said, when you get out to work, there's so much more to learn as a member of staff. And then you help new people coming in, you help new students coming in. Your learning never stops.
No. And then what I found as well, I think it was just the whole, you gave us the theory, and Vicky would come in and give us the support, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know how she'd sit there writing reams and reams. You've covered 10.3 and 10.5a. I remember, what did you do that? How did it? What? And book, and you'd be like, I don't remember doing that or saying that, but she would do it. And then she'd have all the evidence there, and she really gave you that confidence. Suddenly you're not there. Suddenly Vicky's not there. And you're there yourself. And like I said, I was lucky enough to stay in my school with my same year group, just in year 3. And you guys are so good at propping us up and so good at supporting us and giving us that confidence. And for me, what I found is I was finding myself, as well as learning new skill, as well as totally changing my career. So from going from managing a team to then working with children.
Yeah.
So just.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah. And then suddenly you guys aren't there anymore. And I'm like, oh, and that we're left with that lovely big thick book that, we have to, I call it the Bible. You have your Bible, but you don't have you guys there. So it's oh, so I don't know. I think it's about, for further education for me, I think it'd be finding that support again. I think because some people, we had some people on the course and they fly ahead of the game, going away on holiday, still handing in assignments like a week or two. And then, like, you know, some people don't need that support, but some people do. And I think they need more hand holding than others.
Yeah, but I suppose everyone learns in different ways, and everyone requires a different amount of support, don't they?
I was like, I've got a degree. I got a 2-2 when I was 22. You know, this diploma. It won't, and it nearly killed me. I was like, I'm going to be fine. But it was, it was interesting. Very interesting.
So next question then. What was your favourite part of your training, and your education?
I think it was just all of it. Like, I can't pinpoint one thing because everything was just so interlinked. Like I said, Steph, every week we'd go, Steph would give us that, you know, that confidence, and she'd give us the, like, she'd deliver the lessons amazing. And we'd be like, yeah, got this. Yeah, I can apply this. You'd go back into your environment and be like, oh, okay, what was I meant to do? And okay. And then you try and like absorb a lot of what Steph was saying to you and a lot of the other experience. What was really good is everyone had so much experience, and not just in schools, in life as well. I think a lot of us took that forward. So we had like people giving us their life experiences. You had Steph delivering amazing lessons. You had Vicky coming on like and giving us like it's amazing feedback. And I remember like she came 3 or 4 times and we were all the same because we'd all be crazy nervous that Vicky's coming. She'd just be amazing, mind-blowing, super like fast and efficient, and we'd just be left like, oh, okay, bye. And then she'd also like talk to the teachers as well, and like, you know, reinforce our learning, make sure they're giving us support and being there for us as well. And then you had the practical side of it. So I can't say that there's one thing, because I think all of it together was just, it worked.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, if there's not a specific part that was your favourite, but I mean, I think it's maybe a testament to the course, testament to you, Steph, maybe.
Pardon?
You all enjoy.
No, I love the course. I think, like I said, for me, Leicester College was just. So I've got a friend, a mummy friend, I call them, from another school, and she did it with another provider. And when we talked about, and I was just like, oh, okay. I just felt like I was getting a better deal. Then she had.
Well, you never know.
You said
it. So what are you doing now? I mean, we've all sort of gathered this based on the other questions, but have you remained in the field?
Yeah, and I can see it for the foreseeable future as well. I don't, like I said, it's just too rewarding. You do have to be, working in the field, I have realised you have to be a certain type of person. Like it has to naturally click with you working with children, because it is a very stressful environment, and it is difficult. Yes. And some of these stories that you hear, like especially from our school, the school that I'm in, they can really like test your kind of like resilience and your calmness, because like
it's not all smiles and fun, is it?
No, it's some of these stories like are really hard, and I said it in my interview. I said, oh, like I thought I had a difficult, like when my children had a difficult time. I said, working here, I've now realised we got off lightly. I said, you know, working with some of these children, and some of them are so, but every day they're fighting. So they wake up fighting. They come to school, they're fighting. So, you know, either they're fighting learned behaviour that they learned before they could even form words, or even before they were born, and they're fighting to like keep up with their peers, or they're fighting to fit in, or they're just fighting to have a good day. And it just makes it that much better if you feel like you can help in some way, or make that little bit of difference. So for me, I think I found my niche career.
Good. I was just going to say, you've sort of found your calling.
I found my calling. I think so.
That's great. I mean, I think a lot of people can go their whole lives without finding their calling. So
I've already had a nap today, by the way. I came home I had like 20 minutes. My kids and they just call me at like 1:45. I'm already out of that. But yeah, I'm calling, I think.
I don't blame you. So once again, I think this may be one for Steph, but I'm sure you've got something you can say as well. What career progression is available?
So I think we covered that a bit, didn't we, before, with going on and doing the level 4, the higher level teaching assistant, going, and you could maybe go on and do HNC. You could maybe go and work with special educational needs more within the school, do more Senko training if you wanted to progress to doing that in higher education as well. So, yeah.
I was looking at learning mentor as well, because I recently met somebody who is a learning mentor in a pupil referral unit as well. But that was something that I was like, oh, because we've got a learning mentor in our school as well.
Yeah.
I was thinking, oh, that's something that I can just have in the background. Like, say, maybe you get to a certain point in your life and you're like, okay, I don't think I can run around children like with my knees.
One of my other groups of students are in a school, in a special educational needs school, working with children and young people with autism. And this qualification doesn't just do from year 1 up to year 6, takes you right up through to the age of 19. So in the past, we've had Leicester College learning support assistants. I've now got a team of teaching assistants working with 14 to 18-year-olds in the autistic school, in the school for children with autism. One of them is also an ELSA, so being able to go out and do some pastoral training, some mental health training, and working with the children more in a pastoral side, which is where you just led me to that point, talking about learning mentors as well.
Yeah, no, the pastoral support, that was something else somebody mentioned to me about 2-3 months ago, actually. They said, oh, like, if you did want to, there's pastoral support. So I was like, oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But I think there are. I don't think TA is a glass ceiling.
No.
Some people think you become a TA and then you just hit boom, that's it, you can't go. But I think there is so much diversity. There is so many, and especially with the needs that are being identified now. Like I was saying to my GP, referred me for my ADHD to Glenfield Hospital, and they rejected my application, saying that they needed evidence from before the age of 12.
14, wasn't it? Yeah.
And I was like, ADHD wasn't a thing when I was like 8 to 12. Like, it didn't exist. But now there's so much of that. People have Asperger's, ADHD. The autism spectrum is so broad. You've got all the you've got dyslexia, dyscalculia. Kind of, there's so much out there. And I think there's so much that needs support as well. That support structure. So I think the TA role is no longer, oops, I can't go anywhere. I think if you want to, you can diversify. You can, there's so much more you can do.
Yeah.
And I know people have springboarded into teaching as well. And that was something originally I was thinking of. But having worked now, I'm like, the teachers, it's just so regimented and like they're so time constrained. And they have that 20-minute slot to deliver, and then next delivery. Okay, lunchtime, then next delivery, And I don't feel like
it's a lot of pressure.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Work and
whereas a teaching assistant gets the fun, the nice back side of it, while support and a really good TA will be the teacher's right-hand person. They will be that rock for that teacher as well, and that's also a really nice thing to be.
Yeah, because I do interventions. I have my intervention groups. So I have mainly my intervention groups are within my class, and it is just targeting certain learning. So it could be that they are struggling with comprehension, so in their English literature. So I have a comprehension group, and I have a problem-solving group. I have daily times table groups. I have smaller groups where children, maybe a looked after child or a child who's new to the school and has identified as something not integrating as well. I'll have time with them. Even if it's just 5-10 minutes, they really value that time with the TA.
Yeah.
And kind of like, even though it is learning, it's not like we're out there having so much fun or doing something ad hoc. They just like having that little bit of time with you.
Yeah.
And kind of support. And they really do like appreciate it and feel that you're there for them. Like you're there to support them, and you're there for their betterment, and you're there. And even with the discipline, like I said, like I'm so hot on discipline, when I've had with children, I say, look, I respect you, you respect me. I said it works both ways. And then I find that when you and your teacher respect each other, because they're seeing that in their environment, it's automatic. They know that. They're like, okay, they respect each other. I have no choice.
Sorry, I'm just a little bit conscious of time, so I think we've got 2 more questions.
Yeah.
So I suppose this one is I'm going to have to mute one of you. Sorry. Once again, this one's just going out to both of you. Where do you see yourself in the future? Whether that's following any of those career progressions we talked about, whether you even see yourself still working in the fields you do, or whether, I don't know.
I think with me, I'm just going to leave it organic. Like I said, I did have that whole set thing last year and the beginning of this year, but I'm just enjoying this journey, and I just would like to see where it takes me. I don't think I want to be so focused on, because I don't want to miss enjoying what I am doing. And I do. I love it. I do love what I do. And I think when you start focusing on other stuff and like maybe bringing in other elements. So at the moment, I think I'm just going to see where it goes. World's my oyster. Leave it organic.
Good.
Yeah, no, that's probably the best thing to do, isn't it? Why? If you're enjoying what you're doing, it's no point changing it.
Yeah.
So finally, what advice would you give to someone who wants to get started in your field?
So personally, I didn't go about it in the most conventional way, like I mentioned. Had no experience. I would go to a school and just say, look, I'd like to volunteer, just so you get a feel for, kind of get your foot in the door, get a feel for it as well. And that helps with placement. And then that also helps when you're going for a job. When you already have school experience, even on a voluntary basis, it really does count for something. It counts for a lot. Because it shows that you're already in that environment. You're already kind of like halfway there. So you know about safeguarding, you know about policies and rules and everything, and you know why they do things in a certain way. And you're already kind of in the system, and that really, really helps. You can do it my way. It's just a bigger shock. But I would like, and then start looking around, start talking to people, start, talking to, like I said, I went through my son's school, and I think a lot of people do. They go through their, I think a lot of people last year as well, they went to their children's school or they were.
And that's what most people do. Most people do go through their children's school or a local school to them. We're obviously taking applications now for September start, and we've still got a good few weeks left of this term. And I do say to people, get your placement sorted, ready for September. If you can, like Shazia said, go and volunteer for even if it's just a couple of hours a week doing some reading, just to get used to the children. But get applying, come to the welcome events, come to the meet the team events, come to the open events. That I think the next one is June the 22nd. There's one coming up, James.
I was just been speaking with my mind there. But yes, I do believe it's June the 22nd. But you can check that out on the website. It'll be there under the events. That's something that you are interested in.
Perfect.
Schools are more open now as well, because when I started my course, we were just on the time of COVID. It was the first full academic year that we luckily then had. But schools were still, I remember with my school as well, they were still a bit, we're not sure about COVID rules. We're not sure what's going to happen. Are we going to head into another lockdown, or is this it? Is this now we've come out the other side and we're just going to keep plain sailing, go ahead? So I think now schools are more receptive to letting people in on a voluntary basis. And, like Steph said, you've got the last couple of, you've got the last term and a bit now. If you just walk into school and say, look, I would really like to this is something I'm looking at for a career, and I would really like to, volunteer, just to, any way you need me. So like Steph said, reading, it could just, be just as an extra body in the classroom, or then to float around as well. So a lot of schools need that. I think the amount of sickness that goes on in schools is just crazy. I don't think I've had 2 weeks clear where I've felt okay. So the more that they have, they would love to have as many volunteers as possible. They need the support. And then I think when you have a child in the school, you're more invested, because not only are you a parent, you're kind of, you already know the school. And I found that with my school, I already knew the school, and I already felt their ethos, and I already felt how they were as an organisation. Schools are organisations at the end of the day, so you get to know that organisation, even though you're on the other side. And then you step over the threshold, then you get the shock of your life and realise how much they actually do. So I think that's also a good point as well, to see firsthand what teachers and TAs and SLT, how much effort and work they put into just run a school and get it functioning. It's crazy, amazing.
Cool.
All right. Well, thank you both very, very much. And for people that are interested in going down this route, teacher training, teaching assistants, on our website under the courses, you can find all of the related courses that can get you there. But no, thank you both for doing this, and we will be doing another Ask the Expert soon. Full information for that will be on the website, so you can check that out. Thank you.
Thanks, James. Thanks,
Thank
Shazia.
you.
Bye.
Bye.